It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America and around the world, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. You ready for this one?
You're ready
for this story? Here we go.
Here we go.
A county in California wine country is beefing up its vaccine recommendations and instituting a mask mandate, citing greater risk of contracting COVID-19 amid the start of the annual flu season. Flu season.
Yeah.
Spit that out there.
Right.
Hey, let me have another glass of vodka. Now, listen to this name.
Okay.
The Sonoma County Department of Public Health's interim health officer, Dr. Karen Smith, issued an order Monday requiring anyone entering certain healthcare facilities in the county to wear a mask.
I thought they were asking people, like ICE agents, to take the masks off.
Facilities subject to the order include skilled nursing facilities, portion of long-term care facilities where nursing care is provided, acute and non-acute rehabilitation facilities, infusion centers, dialysis centers, according to the order. The rationale behind this order is to protect the most vulnerable populations, such as the elderly and cancer patients, and to try to prevent medical staff from getting sick and creating staffing problems for facilities. The mask mandate will run from November 1st to March 31st.
All right.
So there you go. So,
all right.
The order does provide some exemptions, including anyone with a diagnosed medical condition, mental health condition, or disability that prevents the individual from wearing a face mask. I thought they were going to say the exemptions include ICE agents.
Yeah,
ICE
agents.
I was really
have to take their
masks
masks
to be in there
off.
If you're an ICE agent.
Wow.
If you enter that, but there you go. So,
all right. I guess at least in parts of California, mask mandates are back.
So we've talked about marijuana legalization around the United States. And even in, for example, the state of Texas, where, marijuana is technically illegal because of the 2018 agriculture bill.
Right.
Certain variations of it are legal. The Delta 8, Delta 9,
right,
whatever. And as we saw over the last couple of years, and I didn't know till you told me about a year ago. You said, Gary, I think variations of pot are legal. I'm like, really? And I'm like, oh, that's what all those vape shops are. I was thinking to myself, because all of a sudden they're pop in. Understand that in the city that I live in, we just got liquor stores in 2019.
My town still does not have them.
Yes.
Beer and wine only.
Yeah. And when I moved to my town,
and also no dancing on Saturday.
Kevin Bacon, where are you? And when I first moved into my town, a bar, you'd have to be a member. They were private clubs.
Yeah.
Now they're not. Now you can just, walk into a bar and get, as long as you're of age and, be served.
Yeah. Right.
But not when I moved in there. But in 2019, I'll never forget because I was driving around. This was before, it was about the year before COVID, I think the fall of 2019. I'm looking, I'm like, well, that looks like a liquor store. I didn't even know the vote had happened in my city. And I vote in the local elections. Somehow, I don't know what was going on that year, but I missed that. I missed that local election. And nobody voted, in my town that's like, I don't know, 200,000 people. I think the yeses were less than 1,000 and the noes were like 600. Nobody voted in it.
Yeah.
Whoa, my. When the liquor store started going up, now I got a liquor store around the corner from me. There's 2 bars around the corner from me.
Wow.
And they didn't exist. Within 4 miles, there's probably 6 or 7 6 or 7 liquor stores. I used to have to go if I wanted to get any liquor. It was like 20-mile drive to like Arlington to get it for me, and it was just like wow. And
mine's only 3.26 miles.
Your liquor store?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
give or take.
3.26 miles. I think you may need some help there, sir. You may want to. There's an agency that can help you with that.
No, I have to go to a neighboring city to get it. The city north of me also doesn't have it. So if I wanted, I don't drink, but if I wanted liquor, then I'd have to travel.
Well, when the liquor stores went, I mean, I would go to next door and people were furious.
Mm-hmm.
And I live in a Democrat precinct.
Yeah, yeah.
And in my precinct in next door, it was probably 90% against, and these are all young people.
Yeah.
90% against having liquor stores. And I thought to myself, where am I living? What is it? What is this here?
Yeah.
I mean, I was shocked by the response, not necessarily in a negative way. Young people saying, no, we want to protect our kids. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. Well, then when you told me, then I'd seen over the last couple of years, it's like, all these smoke shops going up. And I'm like, really? And I'm thinking, that many people? I thought nicotine, I had no idea they're selling all the Delta 8, Delta 9 pot. I had no idea. I'm like, wow, people are really, there's really this passion to vape nicotine and for all these nicotine products.
Because I kept looking at it.
CBD, you see the CBD, yes.
The CBD thing probably, to have dedicated shops to CBD, because CBD was going wide.
Right.
And I thought, well, I mean, eventually other stores will have CBD products. I mean, some stores, will never have them. It's just kind of a cultural thing. I don't know. But I thought to myself, the standalone mom and pop vape shops, that can't be a thing, right? I mean, it's
right.
Well, now we know why.
Right. Because, we've got CBD and it's used with a little bit of a elixir to help it go down easier.
Right.
Oh, you mean pot?
It's essentially, the same, the same thing.
And so was the big thing now. I think what Governor Abbott, you were telling me this, they were going to send the DPS out now
they are.
to shops to stop the vape.
Yeah, based on an executive order from the governor of Texas. He's going, and they're going to do undercover operations and send state officers in, troopers, and some will be undercover to enforce the age limit, which is 21.
And the vape pot has to go.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
The vape, right? The vaping they made illegal.
Right.
Edibles are not.
Right.
Edibles are still legal if you're over 21.
Right. It's 21 and over.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're going to be basically enforcing what's in place right now, and following up to make sure that nobody is skirting the law. The way that it happened in our state, you had a lot of people, libertarians, even some on the right that are not as libertarian, kind of become more libertarian on this issue. And the reason is, all right, what are we going to do here? Because even the Republican lawmakers in our state have been pushing to get to a point of decriminalization on weed on certain amounts, because they didn't want local law enforcement to be focused on, and then clogging the courts with all of these smaller amounts and everything else. Focus on the big drug deals and all of that, and anybody who's doing those larger deals and criminals, then they could spend their time doing that. And the way that this happened made it so when they tried to change it, because the lieutenant governor really wanted it to be done, like no THC whatsoever,
right? Nothing.
And nothing, and there were problems with that bill. It was problematic, and basically the governor came back, with this I don't know, compromise. But really, it's kind of happened that, all right, you're going to be able to go to a shop and buy something that's going to get you high legally.
Mm-hmm.
And that, to me, is kind of fascinating because I don't think we're close to legal marijuana, recreational marijuana, but you pretty much have it.
You have it, yeah. And you told me like a year. Remember how surprised? And I was like, well,
Yeah.
I go there. I go down the road completely clueless, going, wow, that many people are really, because it said vaping and CBD, and I was like,
Right.
that many people are into vaping nicotine or
Right.
water vapor,
Right.
and CBD, where they can have, just like you were, they can have the standalone shops, and for a year
Right.
over since 2018.
Well, because
I mean,
we're always focused on business models, and it's like,
right, yes,
that's probably going to be, a lot of those are going to be phased out, and they won't last. And they were only growing.
right. And I'm like, well, what, wow. I thought kids were cutting down from nicotine.
Yeah.
This makes no sense. Well, because they're selling weed.
Yeah. And by the way, to clarify, by growing, I mean growing in numbers, not growing actual plants. That's just
right. Yes. Yes.
But no, this trend actually was going.
Let me ask you this
direction.
before we get to the study, which we'll do in the next segment here, because the study is about auto accidents and the amount. Because we always said that things might change if you find that it's really contributing to automobile accidents.
Yeah.
And even though this is a limited survey, it's not good. Do you think that part of it is, I didn't hear any of this, but because of the amount of fentanyl that they're finding in so many products,
Yeah.
that there's a thought process that if you have legal weed in edibles and I guess you can still have the smoke, you can't have the vape.
I
in
guess.
in the state of Texas.
I guess.
But just let's just say nationwide.
Right.
That if
Overall, right.
if the commercial industries can do it, you're not going to have fentanyl in the products. If it's regulated that way,
right.
that you'll actually save lives, since fentanyl kills so many.
Yeah, I believe it's still problematic. And the reason is because of the way that the effect is activated in an edible versus smoking or vaping.
Because it lasts longer.
Well,
The
also
edible is
because it
stronger.
doesn't hit right away.
Okay.
So if you overdo it with an edible, and we're going to talk about this study here in this one county, and it'll be interesting to see if it extrapolates out in other areas. But if you overdo it with an edible, then, because when you're smoking or vaping, you feel the effect right away because you're putting it into your lungs. So you start feeling that effect right away, and you start reaching that threshold, and your brain starts reaching that threshold in a way that, again, you can go, okay, I've had enough. But if you overeat something, not knowing, again, how much you've taken, or even if, or what your tolerance level is, then it's easier to overdo that. And that becomes extremely problematic for every reason.
Was that brought up when they were passing the law in Texas, saying, well, why not keep vaping and get rid of edibles?
Well, I don't.
Was that discussion even had?
It might have been on the floor in Austin, maybe. Because
I didn't see it.
I didn't see it in the news. I didn't see it in the news. I know a couple of reporters. I followed a couple of reporters that were following it locally, but I didn't see that story, that part of it. But to me, that's the greatest concern, because overdoing it, again, for every reason, is not good. And it becomes, I think, especially dangerous. And, I don't pretend to have all the answers. I'm somebody who supported legalization. But the problem is, I also support that it has to be done in a way where people understand what they're doing. And according to this study, it just gets it gets bad pretty quickly.
866-90 Red Eye.
Brought to you by FPPF, Fuel Power Max.
It's a common road rumor that it's impossible for one-truck owner-operators and even carriers with just 2 or 3 trucks to get freight direct from the source, the shipper. Yet, hard-won experience from untold numbers of owner-operators with authority disproves the notion. Search your home base area and, later, frequent freight destinations to find all the manufacturers, distributors, and other shippers in the area. Once you get that list, ask yourself if those companies know who you are and what you do. If not, you're leaving opportunities on the table. Strive to own your backyard, to build a solid foundation for the business. For many a small fleet, it's the loads outbound from home that are the bread and butter. But you can take that same approach to the destination area, identifying shippers there and getting on the phone to make sure they know who you are and what you do. Owner-Operator Business 101 is provided by Overdrive's Partners in Business program. Go to overdriveonline.com to the Partners in Business section of the website for more detail on this and many other topics.
Brought to you by Shell Rotella, with advanced synthetic technology is designed to help keep your rig running with more mileage and less maintenance.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
We are Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Coming up following the bottom of the hour, you won't want to miss it. Our well, we don't do it all the time, but we like to sort of call it. We normally have one a week, and so we'll just call it our weekly Senator John Kennedy quote of the day.
Yeah, okay.
You know they're always good.
Right. Yeah.
But we were talking about pot and that survey that came out. A new study finds that more than 40% of drivers who died in car accidents in one U.S. county over the last 6 years had elevated levels of THC in their blood. Researchers from Wright State University analyzed driver autopsy results from car crashes in Montgomery County, Ohio, between January of 2019 and September of 2024. That's a pretty big sample size.
Yeah.
More than 4 in 10 tested positive for THC with an average level of 30.7 nanograms. Now, that means nothing to any of us, but that's more than 6 times the level most states use to define impairment. Wow. So I guess if you were going to look at it, and is it 0.08 in most states right now for alcohol?
For alcohol, yeah.
Well, that means that would, and I don't know if it's fair to make the comparison, because if you're saying 6 times, that means if you're at 6 times 6 would be, or excuse me, 6 times 8 would be 0.42.
Okay. Wow.
Right?
48.
42.
No.
48?
Yeah, 6 times 8, right?
Yeah.
Ron, do math for us.
I love it. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, 48.
Yeah.
So, 0.50. That means everybody's dead. If
I
you made the same, which is why I don't think
it isn't fair to make the. But
if 4 in 10 tested and they're all dead, you're not dead from ingestion. I don't know what kills you. We'll talk more about this coming up.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of questions out of this study, and also, one of those is, does it extrapolate out? Are they seeing this in any other part of the country?
Right. 7 times 6 is 40.
There you go.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara.
Okay.
You know, from the preceding segment that we did there, from that segment that we just did,
Yeah.
One would probably not know that I had 3 years of calculus.
And also from that earlier segment, given the content and our inability to do simple math, here's what the audience heard. Hey, man, that would be, like 6 times 8, man. It'd be like 42, man.
Well,
No, man. I think it's 48. No, man. It's 40. Hey, ask Ron. Ron's not here.
let
man.
me tell you the most mind-expanding thing I ever did in college,
All right, man.
and it was calculus.
Yeah, man.
And I can still remember, I think it was because I took it in my senior year of high school, then first 2 years of college.
Yeah.
So I took 3 years of calculus. And I believe it was in my second year. And I'm sitting there with I actually had a study group that I was with because calculus was that hard for us. And we're in the middle of doing some derivative on something. And I went, oh my God, I understand it. I understand. And then it was gone. In my mind, for like a half a second or a second, I actually understood the math of calculus. I understood it. I just wasn't doing it. I understood it, and then it was gone.
It was, I get it. And then, oh, crap.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's the most,
Hey, man, calculus is the Greek god of math.
the
man.
most mind-expanding thing I ever did in college was that second year of calculus. And then the worst thing the teacher did that year.
Yeah.
Because we did the study group because it came to our midterm grades.
Right.
We all got Fs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I've got to be able to. No, I'm sorry. This was the third year. This is the second year of college. This was the third year of calculus, and I was taking it at a community college, and I was like, we got to pass. I got to get out, and we were getting Fs, and so we're in this study group, and we're doing it constantly, and I'll never forget walking. Remember, they used to put the grades on the wall. Walking, I'm like, am I going to be able to go to the next 2 years of college at the 4-year college I went to? And it's like, I get up there and I get an A minus, and my buddy gets an A plus.
How much did that cost?
And we're just like, let's just walk away. And the teacher was standing in the door, and he goes, surprise? I go, yeah. And he goes, I wanted to give everybody in the class some incentive for the midterms. You guys deserve the grades. It's like,
You could have changed the minus to a plus easily.
well, I was upset, and then I was upset that my buddy got an A plus and I got an A minus, and I was like,
see,
Gary,
I would be too. That's me. Yeah,
and I was like, walk away,
Yeah.
walk away.
no, that would have been a thing with me.
walk
Because
away.
minus means negative. I don't like that at all.
Like walk away. You finished 3 years of calculus.
I mean, I can't
actually
do math, but man, that's wrong.
Well, the thing is that people don't understand. In regular math, 1 and 1 plus 2 is pretty easy to figure out, right?
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
fractions are you can figure out. You can see it in your
6
head.
times 8 is 42.
Right.
It's simple.
For me, when I got to calculus, you're doing these complicated problems and trying to solve them, but you don't understand it. You can't comprehend it in your head,
Right.
and you still have to solve the problem.
Right.
So for that 1 second where it was like, I've got it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, I don't now. I had it,
Yeah.
but it was gone.
Yeah.
But the fact that it would be now, because 49 years later, because I would have been 20 or 21 maybe
Okay.
at the time.
All right.
49 years later, that's still a very important moment in my life that I
That
really
you got it for a second.
I remember that specific moment.
Yeah.
It has a huge impact. You're like, yeah, I got it. Well, could you go back? No, because I'm not going to start doing calculus again because I'd have to start from the very beginning. In fact, I'd have to start with algebra and then go to, trigonometry and then all the way back up through it again.
Well, yeah.
No, I'm not redoing it again.
That's why, because at schools, they have elementary, they have Grandparents' Day. Now, the idea is you go there and have lunch with your grandchild, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've done that before, but I thought if they drag this into the classroom, it could be bad for me. Because then it would be, well, come on up, Grandpa. Let's have you complete the math here. And that's not good. That's not good. If it's anything outside of the lunchroom where they're going to, well, come see the classroom. Well, let's do some work here. You can help us out. I'm totally screwed. That would not be a good thing for me. So far, number 8 has not asked me yet. They haven't gotten to that point, but at some point I'll have to go to Grandparents' Day at his school, and I'm going to pray we keep it to lunch, just lunch.
So getting back to the mind expanding, how we started with the whole mind expansion was the study done at Wright State University analyzing drivers who were killed in one county, Montgomery County, Ohio, between January of 19 and September of 2024, driving, that is, more than 4 of the 10 autopsies. The bodies tested positive for THC with an average level of 30.7 nanograms. That's more than 6 times the level that states use to define impairment. Breathalyzers do not detect marijuana use, which makes it harder for police to nab people who are driving while high. Today's marijuana is 5 times more potent than the weed that boomers smoked when they were younger. So what you were smoking and what you felt that high from the stems and seeds probably was carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah, exactly.
The auto fatalities have increased over the last decade, even as cars have become safer and alcohol consumption has fallen. Could marijuana be contributing to more reckless driving? That's a fair question. Nearly a quarter of 18 to 25-year-olds used marijuana in the last month, as did 15% of those 26 and older. And I did see a survey where they said that the amount of seniors, because it was in the culture. It was in the 1960s culture. Everybody smoked pot.
Okay, yeah, okay.
And they
that
said
makes sense, yeah.
tons of seniors are doing edibles now.
Yeah, yeah.
But the Ohio study is being presented this week at the American College of Surgeons conference ought to prompt the Trump administration to slam the brakes on the plan to move marijuana to a less risky level on the federal drug schedule. Then they go into, this is a Wall Street Journal editorial now I'm reading, marijuana can damage the heart, lungs, immune system, and brain. A study this spring in the Journal of American College of Cardiology found that marijuana users under age 50 who were free of cardiovascular disease were 6 times as likely to suffer a heart attack compared to non-users and were at a 4-fold risk of stroke. Now, you've got to ask yourself a question. Is it the pot or is it everything else that you do with the pot?
Well, also, how much of this is the pot they're getting it legally, and how much of it is black market stuff? Is there something else in the system? Or were there any other, as you asked, any other items in the system from the autopsy? Now, because that alone, again, is at a very high level. But the question would be, okay, but what was the method of ingestion? I would love to see the demographics, age groups, and all of that. But also, look at some of all right, what was going on with this individual? What can they tell in the chemistry of their body of anything else that was going on? I have a nephew who's a police officer, and he told me about a fatality that was an overdose, and it was on fentanyl. But they told him, the ME told him, it was laced in the marijuana. So he smoked, and they don't know if he knew that it was there or not. But he smoked it, and a very young person, and he died as a result of the overdose. Because you mentioned earlier, is there this new thought that, hey, man, I don't want to mess with any of that because If I can get it legally, then I can, avoid that risk of overdosing from fentanyl or something else that's in it that I don't know.
Yeah.
If you're buying it on the street.
I think there would be.
I would think there would be, but is that all? Is it also easier to, or is there a price point on legal versus street weed where people say, no, I'd rather get it from, my connection or whatever? I would love to see the numbers of how that's going, because the idea of legalization is that you do have a standard based on industry. You have a standard, and that industry can be held responsible,
Right.
For the content of what they're selling.
Right.
And, of course, the bad guys, the criminals, cannot. So it gets, when you look at, the makeup of legal weed versus illegal and this kind of consumption, and now socially it's more acceptable. And you don't even have to smoke it. So nobody knows if you took an edible, if you ate something.
Well, now they got drinks. They got you can get it in so many different forms.
And you can't detect it.
All right, you ready?
What do you got?
Our Senator John Kennedy quote of the week.
All right, what do you got?
Talking about Chuck Schumer, he was on Fox News and listened to an audio cut of Chuck Schumer about why Chuck is shutting down the government because he's fighting for the American people, is what Schumer said. And this was Senator John Kennedy's response to that.
For health care, your reaction?
Well, I listened to the clip of Senator Schumer. His relationship with the truth is very casual. The truth is that this is a political shutdown. Senator Schumer he's nervous as a pregnant nun about losing his reelection to the socialist wing of his party, led by Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, which is in control.
Now that's nervous.
But I do think I sensed he paused for a moment.
He's getting it. Got the timing, yeah.
That he paused for a moment to make sure he had it right to say he's as nervous as a pregnant nun about the socialist wing of his party not loving him.
Oh, I heard that as a little comedic timing. You pause for the laughter.
Oh, okay. Well,
and
I thought he paused right before the pregnant nun thing. I goes, was he trying to find the right thing to say?
Did he?
Is there like
he was workshopping it and didn't do the punchline he wanted to.
Well,
maybe.
No, he just was thinking about what he wanted to do.
Okay.
And so it still came out. I thought he was successful in doing it.
Oh, yeah.
But it was like I just thought because he's being held such a high standard here on Red Eye Radio for his insults on the left that he says, well, listen, they have standards at Red Eye. Except for Eric's jokes, they do a lot of quality stuff.
Right. And I get away with it just because I can. But that's pretty nervous, though.
Yeah,
that's a pretty high standard for being nervous.
866-90 Red Eye.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
We're at Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Yesterday I saw the quote from Pritzker in Illinois saying the reason Trump is sending, the troops to these cities is because he's got dementia, and I heard that, and then I went to sleep, and I wake up, and the peace deal's been done. I'm like, sorry, it doesn't work.
Everything else when the peace deal was announced. All their other garbage just kind of went to the side, and I thought, you just look like clowns because you're clowns.
And if this continues, I saw Goldman on CNN having a hard time saying anything negative about Trump.
Right.
And he said something that wasn't clear, and they go, yeah, but Trump did this. Well, yeah, okay. And the fascinating thing is, how is the left? They cannot give him credit.
Right.
How delusional will they go if this peace deal continues on this path that right now seems very, very positive? How delusional will they go? How delusional will they go to try to turn it into a negative? Which I don't see how they can do it.
I think a couple of them will attempt, but it's going to be weak. I don't think it's going to be heard because right now the vibe from this response so far has been very positive and
worldwide.
I think it just reverberated, and I think that's going to continue. I think that actually will continue, and hopefully on Monday those hostages, Israeli hostages, will all be home.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.